Hey everyone, it's Jenny at jccards.com, and today I'm joining you as part of a blog hop for the new Catherine Pooler Designs Zen Garden release, which was available yesterday, February 13th. And I'm sharing with you a card I created using a sentiment from the Love Grows stamp set, which was part of the release. The supplies I used and details about the blog hop can be found in the video description below. These are the new inks that were released as part of the Zen Garden release. The only one not shown here is Shea Butter, which is a really nice warm yellow colour. These are beautiful inks and they're fantastic for stamping, ink smooshing, ink blending, watercolouring, you name it, they're really versatile. I'm going to do some ink smooshing today using rose petals, sugared lavender and stone blue. First off, I've trimmed down a piece of cold pressed watercolour paper to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I've taken a small piece of acetate, could be off some stamp packaging or any you've got in your stash, and I'm smushing down some of the ink pads, however I choose, onto the acetate. With Catherine Pooler inks, be careful not to push too hard. The pad can be very juicy and you don't want to oversaturate the acetate with ink. I then spritzed the acetate with water using my Distress mister. 2 or 3 spritzes is fine, and then I've flipped over the acetate and I'm placing it down onto the watercolour paper. For a more subtle look, you could also spray the paper beforehand before you add the ink. You can move the acetate around to achieve a bit more control over where your ink goes. That's why this technique is slightly different to when you smush your ink pads down on a craft mat and flip over your paper and add it that way. So you have a bit more control over where you want to place the ink. It's not total control, but hey, let's play fast and loose with our crafting, shall we? You can also flick the back of the acetate, and if there's enough moisture on there, you'll get some interesting droplets landing on your craft project as well. I did 2 or 3 layers in this way, drying in between each time. And after the third time, I actually spritzed some clean water using my Distress spritzer bottle and then lifted it off after about 30 seconds of drying with a paper towel. And as a final touch, I'm using some Colacicco shimmer spritz in Frost to add a lot of shimmer over the piece. It's hard to see in the video, but in real life this is super sparkly. And now it's time to do our heat embossing. Because we've used a lot of moisture on this project, you want to use your embossing buddy or another type of powder tool to make sure that your card is totally dry. Otherwise you're going to end up with embossing powder sticking where you definitely don't want it. I'm using the largest sentiment from the new Love Grows stamp set from the Zen Garden release, and I'm inking it up in Versamark Ink. Versamark is a clear sticky ink which is used for heat embossing. I'm embossing the sentiment with Cloud 9 embossing powder by Wow, which is a really pretty silver with tiny little flecks of glitter, coloured glitter embossing powder, and it looks really nice, and it also embosses really crisply. If you do end up with any flecks of embossing powder in the places where you don't want, you can just remove these with a dry brush before you melt the embossing powder with your heat gun. Now I was going to leave it there, but I decided to add a couple more embellishments from the Love Grows stamp set to show how you can actually use some of these stamps, which I think are actually flower centres, in a different way. So I've taken the solid and the ring flower centre, added them to an acrylic block, also available from Catherine Pooler, fantastic acrylic blocks, and I'm scattering the stamp images over the piece in the same exact ink colours, and they sort of as they dry out they sort of blend into the background for a bit more texture. As a finishing touch, I've added some pretty pink posh sequins in sparkling clear with Ranger Multi-Medium Matte, and then I did the whole piece using double-sided tape to a £110 card base. Here's a couple of other projects that you can find out how to make on my blog. I'll provide the link in the video description below, using the same Love Grows stamp set from the Zen Garden release, which is available now in Catherine Pooler's shop. I hope you enjoyed today's projects. Please leave me a thumbs up and a comment and subscribe to my channel. That would be much appreciated. Join in today's blog hop with everyone else over on my blog. The link is below in the video description, and have a great day. Bye.